As all of you are aware, I'm assuming you're aware, you're all familiar to some degree with BSL Nutrition, which stands for Body Systems Labs. And Body Systems Labs was developed by myself and my business partner, James, a couple years ago as a way to really do two things. One was to create a comprehensive workout product that was going to replace 4 or 5 or 6 different products that we were currently using in our practice, that we really, that I was using in my practice that I wasn't very happy with. I wasn't happy with the price points of the products. So if we're talking about a typical pre-workout product, if we're talking about an essential amino acid or a branched chain amino acid product, if we're talking about electrolytes, if we're talking about citrulline malate, L-carnitine, all of those things, I was using all of those with my clients, but I was really frustrated with the number of products, and conversely, my clients were frustrated with the number of products that I was recommending they take. And of course, they're frustrated with the price points. From a practitioner standpoint, it was difficult for me to even carry that much product on my shelves, to have to deal with all of the inventory, as I'm sure some of you are aware. And so, I connected with who was my now business partner, James, and kind of got the ball rolling on creating a product, because frankly, he was one of my clients at the time. And we sat down one day and he's like, look, I think this is something that you can do better. I have some connections in the industry, and why don't, we see if it's something that we can team up on and create a better quality product, because I knew for a fact that obviously the price points were not desirable for most of my clients, and the quality of the raw materials were certainly not desirable as well. So we undertook, we took it amongst ourselves to work with a local manufacturing company, and try and create, the best comprehensive all-in-one workout product possible, which is now the Complete Essentials. And so, what we did was we took, we had been using, and I had been using for some years, essential amino acids in and around my workouts. And one of the reasons I was using essential amino acids as opposed to the branched chains was because I knew that, using essential amino acids, so that's 9 amino acids. So that's 9 of the amino acids that our body can't manufacture, that we have to get from our food, versus the BCAAs are just 3 of the 9 essential amino acids, for those of you that may not be aware. Though we got some pretty smart people on this call, so I imagine most of you have an idea of the difference between BCAAs and essential amino acids. But like I said, so I was using essential amino acids, and one of the reasons I was using those was because I knew them to be, just anecdotally, I knew them to be more effective for strength training, because they are more of a complete protein. They're better for muscle protein synthesis, so more anabolic. And I'm going to touch on a question in a little bit from one of our followers, Dustin, but they are specifically more beneficial for muscle protein synthesis, or actually building up and laying down more muscle tissue, as opposed to just preventing muscle protein breakdown, which we see those two, that nomenclature in the literature is MPS, muscle protein synthesis, and MPB, muscle protein breakdown. What's up, Todd? How you doing, brother? I was just talking about you earlier today. Glad to have you on the call. Okay, so I was talking about MPS and MPB, and so we know from the literature, specifically with BCAAs, and this is the popularity of BCAAs, is that they help prevent muscle protein breakdown, but they really don't do anything to drive more anabolism, or more muscle protein synthesis, more muscle growth. And so that's certainly one of the huge differences between the essential amino acids and the BCAAs specifically. So it's really in everyone's best interest to just be utilizing the essential amino acids around their workout, and stop wasting their time with the BCAAs. Also, the research on the BCAAs shows that for people that are getting enough protein in their diet, the branched chain amino acids aren't going to do much for you. They're really not going to do much. And so when I say enough, all I'm talking about is 1 to 1.5 grams per kilo of body weight. So I'm at 100 kilos. That's 100 to 150 grams of protein. So for me, that's no issue. So just taking BCAAs wouldn't really be much much benefit for me, but the essential amino acids, conversely, getting that more of a complete protein really drives more towards your net protein daily intake, so that total protein intake. So for some of our clients, for some of you and some of your clients, for those of you that are trainers, it will help increase their daily protein intake, which is definitely an issue for a lot of people. For those of us in the industry, we may not realize that because we go out of our way to consistently consume protein, from meal to meal. But for a lot of people, especially if someone's more plant-based, or at least maybe focusing more on getting predominantly plant-based foods in their diet, and maybe shying away from more animal proteins, which is becoming more prevalent. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they may not be getting enough protein to facilitate their performance or muscle building goals, or physique goals for that matter. And so that's a major component of why the essential amino acids are so much more beneficial than just the branched chain amino acids. Utilizing them in and around the workout. But the second, and even the potentially the bigger component for me and for you guys and for your clients, is the role of the essential amino acids and on gut health, on digestibility, on absorption and assimilation. And what do they say? They say we are what we eat. Well, it's we are what we digest, absorb, and assimilate. And the problem for a lot of people is their digestion just flat out sucks. And so for a lot of people that are utilizing like whey proteins, or even just eating a lot of animal protein, but that have very poor digestion, they are not absorbing. They're not breaking down those peptide bonds. They're not breaking down those protein bonds. They're not actually absorbing those proteins into their diet. And that's obviously a big issue. So improving digestion is one big thing, but with the essential amino acids, they're free-form amino acids, which means they're kind of unbound proteins. And so when you consume them, they're immediately digested and absorbed. They're not even digested. They just kind of bypass digestion and go right into the bloodstream for utilization, which is a very cool component about the free-form amino acids. So someone that, and this was myself because I suffered from pretty severe stomach issues growing up, which was later diagnosed as a H. pylori infection. And then that led to a whole bunch of food sensitivities, including gluten and dairy. I would really respond negatively to whey protein, casein protein, and even I tried, like, for those of you that are familiar with a lot of the plant-based proteins or the medical food powders, I would try those quite frequently, but I just couldn't handle them, bloating, poor digestion, things like that. So I was, I jumped on to utilizing the essential amino acids with great success. And so I was using them, and then I got James, and I started using them with my clients with great success, especially the ones that had poor digestion issues. I got my now business partner, James, who was a client at the time. I got him utilizing them. So I had him on like an essential lead amino acid plus an extra branched chain amino acid. And from just a performance, recovery, digestion standpoint, it just was head over heels above everything else in the market. So I think one of the major benefits of the essential amino acids is the fact that they require no digestion. For those people, and there's a lot of people that may not realize it, that have dairy-related intolerances, may not like the taste of whey, may not handle whey or casein, may not like the taste of plant-based proteins, then the essential amino acids can be really beneficial for that. So that, like research aside, and like muscle protein synthesis and muscle protein breakdown aside, like for most people, that's just not the stuff that we need to be focusing on. We really need to be focusing on how can we drive more nutrition? How can we prevent nutritional deficiencies? And get them to actually be digesting and absorbing the nutrients that we're putting in. And that's where the EAAs really come in handy, especially because, because a lot of people are really motivated to take supplements in and around their workouts, as opposed to other times of the day where they may forget, and it may not be, they may just forget to do it, which a lot of people do. But if they're specifically motivated to, take product in and around the workout, then why not giving them the product with the most bang for their buck? And that's why, that was kind of the next component of the Complete Essentials, was how do we make it more comprehensive? How do I take that electrolyte, BCA, essential amino acids, citrulline, malate, L-carnitine, and some of the other components to it, and put it all into one great product. So the other components of the of the Complete Essentials. Sorry, these earphones are kind of keep falling out. So the other components of the essential amino acid, the Complete Essentials, is citrulline malate. And so for those of you not familiar with citrulline malate, it's two components. It's citrulline and it's malic acid. And they work kind of synergistically on two different things. So citrulline is a precursor to arginine in the urea cycle. And so basically what that means is the citrulline helps improve blood flow in the body. So it helps increase blood vessel diameter, help improve blood flow so the body can drive more raw materials to the working muscles. So that's a major advantage of increasing blood flow during exercise. We want to be able to drive as much blood flow to the working muscles as possible. And then the other component of that, so within the blood flow is in the urea cycle, that's what drives ammonia and lactate clearance. And so when we're exercising and let's say we're strength training, or we're running up a hill and your legs start to burn or your arms start to burn when you're strength training, we're building up lactate in the muscle. It's a metabolic byproduct of lack of oxygen when the muscles are contracting. And so that's what causes us to feel sore to some degree after the fact, and to burn and become more fatigued during exercise. So the citrulline helps, because it helps improve blood flow. It helps clear ammonia and helps clear that lactate faster. So it's similar to what we've been previously utilizing in the sports supplement industry, which is arginine. And we know arginine for that vasodilation, that kind of pump, that that kind of NO response, which stands for nitrous oxide, but that's the increased blood flow. And so what that does, what the clearing of lactate, it means we can do more work in a shorter period of time. We can become less sore post-workout, certainly less sore post-workout, but improves our work capacity intra-workout. So if we're strength training, and let's say we're doing squats, and we're building up lactate, if your body's clearing that lactate faster, it means you need less rest in between sets, and therefore you could potentially do more work in a given period of time. So that's obviously a major benefit. Plus, you feel better when you have the citrulline in your bloodstream because you have more blood flow. It's almost like a more passive warm-up. And then the second component of that is the malate, or the malic acid, and malate is involved. It's an intermediate in the Krebs cycle. But the Krebs cycle, if you recall from biochemistry, if any of you ever took biochemistry, is the Krebs cycle is responsible for producing ATP, which is our main energy source. And so for people that have hiccups, if you will, in their Krebs cycle, or in their mitochondrial function, mitochondria like our little energy powerhouses in our cells, that malate, that malic acid, is very beneficial for driving more energy. And who doesn't need more energy, especially those of us that train early in the morning? We kind of need everything that we can get our hands on to naturally drive more energy production, to wake us up more, and to drive more out of our workouts so that we can get the best results possible. So that's kind of the major components about the citrulline malate. But, I mentioned arginine, and what's cool about the citrulline malate is the research is showing, and now we know that citrulline is much more bioavailable and is a precursor to arginine in the urea cycle. So it's actually kind of also bypasses stomach digestion and is absorbed much more readily, so that we can utilize it for that improved blood flow and vasodilation. So it's much more effective than the arginine. The citrulline is much more effective than an arginine. So that's been coming out a lot more in pre-workout based supplements. So another component of the Complete Essentials is It's L-carnitine, and L-carnitine helps utilize fat as fuel more effectively. So L-carnitine works in the cells to drive what's called fatty acid mobilization, but basically helping our body rely on fat more as a fuel source, but it also can drive more energy because it does that, because it taps into more fatty acid breakdown and breaking down our fat cells. It can drive more energy. So a lot of people feel energized from the L-carnitine as well, which is a really cool component to it. Let's see, just gonna say what's up. So Matt, what's up, buddy? Who else just jumped on? Antonio, how you doing, brother? Good to see you on the call. Who else just jumped on? Joseph, what's up, dude? Good to see people. Man, there's some smart cats on this call. I'm kind of, it's kind of intimidating. Sweet, I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you. Yvonne, how are you? Awesome. Zach, what's up, dude? Awesome. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. So like I was saying, so for those of you that just tuned in, I was saying that we are a bit behind on our lemon lime launch in terms of getting in the mail. It's all done. It's in the bottles. We're kind of just waiting on some labels. We had a couple of hiccups on our labeling. We made a mistake. So, you know, it happens, lesson learned. And so we're running a few days behind. So hopefully we should be shipping early next week. We will be shipping early next week, so you don't have to worry about that. But I wanted to, to have an opportunity to jump on with you guys, find out what kind of questions you had about the Complete Essentials, whatever I can do to help you guys utilize it more effectively, both for yourselves, for your clients. I know there's a bunch of trainers on the call. So, so as I was saying about the Complete Essentials, I was talking about L-carnitine and fatty acid mobilization. So we had the essential amino acids, we have the carnitine, we have the citrulline malate, and we have some of the electrolytes, some of the minerals, right? Sodium, magnesium, potassium, in good chelated forms that are very easily absorbable. So I like to talk about how they're very similar to what you would get in a Gatorade, but obviously without all of the sugar and without all the nasty colorings and dyes and artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. And when we talk about the sweeteners, I knew, right off the bat that I didn't even want to deal with sucralose, with acesulfame, some of these artificial sweeteners. And so we said right from the very beginning, we are going to go out of our way to make sure that we're using kind of the most natural ingredients possible, at least as far as the artificial sweeteners go. And so that's why we use just stevia. So in the grape, we have stevia, some talin, and a little bit of organic cane sugar. And so we decided with the grape, if any of you remember, we had a raspberry as our first product that had very little coloring, kind of not too much sweetener, and it was kind of an interesting taste. And we quickly made a transition to grape, which has been extremely popular. I'm so happy with the grape product. I personally love it. We got so many clients that love it and customers that love it. But what we did with the grape is we put a little bit of organic cane sugar in there to cut the bite of the stevia, because stevia can have like a really bitter kind of aftertaste on the back of the palate. And we really wanted to make this as appealing as possible, obviously, for as many of you as possible. And because, the fact of the matter is, like, if you don't like the taste of something, no matter how great it is for you, you're just not going to take it. For example, I have this liposomal glutathione. I don't know if you guys are familiar with liposomal technology, but I have this liposomal means it's like bound to fat. So it's easily absorbed in the cells, which the cells are made of phospholipids. The cells are made of fat. So this whole phospholipid technology that's coming out for supplements, that's been out for supplements, it's supposed to make these products more bioavailable. So I have this glutathione kind of tube in my fridge that you're supposed to take like a teaspoon every day. And it's the most foul tasting product I've ever tasted in my entire life. And I can take a lot of pretty nasty stuff. I mean, I'm drinking amino acids without any flavoring, which if you've ever done that, it's pretty gross. point is that I won't take it. Like, I just can't take it. And so there's a lot of people that if they have a product that they don't like the taste, obviously they're not going to be taking it. And so we wanted to make sure it's going to be something that people are going to be willing to take. So like I said, with the Complete Essentials, with the stevia, we knew we wanted to just use stevia. And so we really, we experimented quite a lot with different amounts of stevia, different flavorings. And we wanted a lemon lime originally, but it was honestly, it was just too hard to figure out the right sweetener. And we did, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 taste tests to try and figure it out. But frankly, like, we just couldn't make it like perfect enough, right enough to be willing to put it out on the market. So we knew, between James and myself and basically like our wives and our kids and our friends, and the people at the gym that we were, having taste tested, like, we knew what we could get away with, and we weren't figuring out the lemon lime. And so we hit on the grape. That was really popular. And so we decided that, okay, well, let's roll with the grape, and then we'll come back to the lemon lime. And so that's what we did. And so obviously the grape's been really popular, and then we've been working on the lemon lime for like the past 6 months. And so what we did was we contracted a company, like a company that specializes in flavoring and sweeteners, to help us out with the process. And so they really helped us hone in on kind of the right amounts of stevia. We ditched the organic cane sugar in our lemon lime. So for those of you that are wondering about the sugar, there's no sugar in the lemon lime flavor. There's still just 3 grams per serving, so per 2 scoops of the grape Complete Essentials, which for most people it's a non-issue, but I understand that people are still looking for, sugar-free things, but honestly, like, 3 grams is nothing. However, I did have a couple people that had emailed me asking about how the Complete Essentials work with the ketogenic diet. So I'll touch on that in just a sec. But yeah, so we're super happy with the lemon lime. The taste is amazing. Like I said, we spent a lot of time working on it. For those of you at Kilo, you guys know I was out there a couple times, both working with, I came up and met with you guys after I'd been down working with the flavoring crew in San Diego. And we just went back and forth a lot to really make sure that we had the right flavoring in place. So I think you guys are going to be really happy with it. I'm super happy with it. I know the people who've tried it are definitely, and so I'm looking forward to having you guys, try it out. Yeah. So yeah, Steph said it tastes similar to the original Gatorade. I would say definitely, I would definitely agree with that. And let's see. So what else? So I had mentioned earlier about how the essential amino acids, oh, right on, Zach. Thanks, man. Zach said the lemon lime is legit. Yes, it is. Oh, that's right. So Zach and I were at a conference we were at a Muscle Nerds conference. For those of you familiar with Muscle Nerds and Luke Lehman, we were over, where were we, dude? I've been all over the place. We were in Austin. Yeah, we were in Austin last week for Muscle Nerds conference. I brought the lemon lime out. They tried it out. It was definitely popular. So that's cool. Okay, so I had been talking about the essential amino acids, and one of the questions I had, not only, so why are the EAAs, the essential amino acids, better than the BCAAs? I covered that in terms of the essential amino acids are more of a complete protein, but more importantly is digestibility, ease of absorption, and what's something I didn't mention is that essential amino acids, because they're easily digested, absorbed, they're almost like a 2-to-1 value to what you would get from a whey protein. So that, let's just say 10 grams of the essential amino acids is going to be equivalent to like 20 grams of a whey protein. So you get more bang for your buck. And so if you're utilizing it with your clients in and around their workouts, they can easily just be taking the complete essentials as opposed to having take to take their pre-workout, intra-workout, post-workout. And so especially for those clients that don't need the extra calories from a whey protein, they may be in a phase where they're, not utilizing carbohydrates, or you can easily mix fast digesting carbs with the essential amino acids intra-workout, which I would certainly recommend if someone's looking to, if they have a lot of muscle mass and they're looking to maintain, and they're doing high volume training, and or they're looking to improve lean muscle tissue, and have a need for higher, a caloric surplus, then definitely mixing a fast digesting carb source like a branch cyclic dextrin or some type of fast and more easily digestible carb source with the EAAs, because both of those are going to kind of minimize the amount of digestion necessary, minimize the amount of blood flow that's circulating to the stomach to have to break those foods down, and rather allow that blood flow to be facilitated to the working muscles. So that's a pretty important component. But one of the questions that Dustin mentioned was, what did he say? He said, oh shoot, I wrote it down. He said, why the essential amino acids to stay anabolic and not go catabolic throughout the day. So this is a major misnomer in the fitness world, is the fact that if you are, if you're competing, certainly, if you're looking to lay down a lot of new muscle tissue, or you're looking to get lean as possible, there's sort of this conventional wisdom, if you will, that you should be like sipping on branch chain amino acids all day long, like you see the dudes with the gallon jugs at, like at their desk, and it's like this huge gallon jug of neon blue BCAA drink that they're just kind of sipping on constantly so they don't go catabolic, like as if you like go for an hour without eating and all of a sudden your body's just going to start eating up muscle tissue. It's kind of ridiculous. And so the whole idea that we would break down muscle tissue in between meals, it's just false. It's just simply not the case. And I would argue that most people would be much better off allowing 3, 4 to 5 hours in between meals to really help reestablish some of those hormones that relate to hunger and satiety, like leptin and like ghrelin, and actually identify with what it means to feel hunger from meal to meal. Because especially if you're trying to lose weight or lose body fat, the actual feeling of hunger is something that we completely lose in the fitness industry, because of the idea that we have to stay anabolic. Therefore, we have to be eating every couple of hours to fuel this what did they say? Like fuel the metabolic fire, stoke the fire, which is simply not the case. Most people would be much better off having a solid meal, 3 or 4 times per day, getting enough protein, carbs, and fats depending on when it is that they train, and maybe a post-workout shake or an intro post-workout shake in addition to that if they need it for calories. But the notion that we can't go more than a couple hours, especially if you're competing, without going catabolic is really ridiculous. And you're just probably setting yourself up for disaster when you are sipping on especially BCAAs all day long, because of what we know about the fact that BCAAs can potentially deplete both B6 and block tyrosine absorption. Tyrosine is a non-essential amino acid that we have in the complete essentials because of this situation, if you will, because the circumstances of people consuming far too many BCAAs just throughout the day around their workouts, to not go catabolic. And what that can do is actually create more of a depressive state, actually depress the nervous system, depress your body's dopamine response, which is one of your neurotransmitters that is responsible for kind of a neural drive. Like it's our get up and go. It's our drive. And so that's the last thing that we want to be suppressed when we're going into a workout. So a lot of people are shooting themselves in the ass, for lack of a better term, when they're constantly taking BCAAs. So I hope that answers the the anabolic catabolic question. Do yourselves a favor and actually tap into allowing yourself time to get hungry between meals, identify with feelings of hunger and satiety so that you can start to structure your meals appropriately, and so that we can really just create a healthier relationship with food. I mean, just the nature of this industry and being so wrapped up in tracking calories and macros, and it's really ridiculous. And on the back end, for those of us on the back end that are trainers, we're seeing some horrible psychological and emotional effects on people with their relationship with food. And they may go through like a 12-week transformation, but they're totally screwed after the fact. They don't look at food the same way, and they're always judging themselves. They're always feeling, feelings of guilt around meals that may not actually fit into what their macros are. And it's really completely unnecessary component of the industry. Rather, it's my belief that we can teach people how to eat healthier, how to fuel them more effectively, how to train them more effectively so that they can handle more calories throughout the day. A lot of the stuff that the guys at Kilo are doing is helping their bodies be more effective calorie burning machines, so that we can stop focusing on depleting and rather focus on like, hey, how much can we get away with? Let's start up far higher than maybe what we intuitively would start at based on the diet mentality, and train hard and see what we can get away with. And honestly, we may need to increase it. And so I think that's a big issue that we need to address and clean up in the industry, because it's not getting any better. It's only getting worse with all of the keyboard warriors online and preaching, these 6 and 12-week fat loss, drastic calorie reduction programs, overtraining. I like, as I mentioned that Zach and I were in Austin, and I really like what the guys over at Muscle Nerds are doing, what Luke Lehman and Isaac and Zoe at Muscle Nerds are doing from a standpoint of like, it's least mode, hashtag least mode before beast mode, meaning we're going to start people off with probably far less than what they would normally start off with, as a means to kind of reduce stress levels, help support them building an aerobic base, help support them in optimizing recovery, fueling themselves efficiently without having to focus too deep into caloric restriction. So I think that's really, really important. And it's that same mentality that we're trying to take here at BSL Nutrition is, like I said, I mean, it's part of our tagline, Smart Nutrition Made Simple. We want to provide information for you guys, the best nutrition, fitness, and supplement information possible in the most simplistic way possible, so that you can utilize it not only for yourself, with your friends, with your clients. It doesn't have to be as complex as it's made out to be. And it's taken me a really long time to realize that in this industry where we all want to kind of step on each other's shoulders and say, no, I'm smarter, no, I know more. And honestly, it doesn't matter how much you know. I'll be the first to say that, especially on a call up with all you guys, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface as far as what there is to know about smart supplementation and nutrition and certainly fitness. But I also know from enough years of experience that it doesn't have to be difficult, and we don't have to make it more difficult than it needs to be.
by any stretch of the imagination. And when we can titrate it down and give people really tangible steps, like what we're trying to do with the Complete Essentials, it's like, yeah, I mean, you could take a few more things, and would that be like optimal? Yeah, sure. I mean, that might be optimal, but can we get, the majority of what we want to accomplish with one product? I believe that we definitely can. I mean, of course, I'm, biased, but that's why we created it, and so that's what we're all about. So let's see. I had talked about, and I'm just going to try and go for like maybe 15 more minutes. And so if you guys have questions that are percolating, do me a favor, just drop them in the chat below so that I can make sure to try and hit them before you have to log out. I know everyone's time is really valuable. So again, I'm super appreciative of all of you logging in. And so I want to make sure to hit those questions. But someone had asked a question. I want to be able to, let's see, who was it? It was Jason. Jason had emailed me, and Jason asked if the Complete Essentials was appropriate for those people on a ketogenic diet. Now, Jason specifically is undergoing like a extremely long fasting period. Like he had mentioned, I think he's 16 days into a fast. So this is not going to apply to virtually anyone that's going to be listening to this, except for you, Jason. But I will touch on things that I think are going to be important for other people to be cognizant of. So for you, dude, like you got to talk with your doctor about that stuff. Like I can't really speak to long-term fasts. And honestly, I can't even speak really that much to a ketogenic diet. I mean, I have gone through a few weeks of ketogenic dieting. I'm pretty familiar with the premise of ketogenic diets. I've worked with clients utilizing keto and whatnot. So from the question of like, is the Complete Essentials appropriate for someone on a ketogenic diet? The answer is yes. And the reason it's yes is because there's no sugar in the there's no sugar in the lemon lime Complete Essentials, and there's very little sugar in the grape. So depending on the person and depending on how deep into ketosis, the kind of the numbers being like how many millimolars of ketones are they producing at a given time based on urine strips or blood. It determines, I think, between like 0.5 millimolars and I don't know, up to 3 or 4 or 5 millimolars is very extreme ranges. But from what I understand, Jason is doing some extreme weight loss. Like he has hundreds of pounds to lose and therefore is doing a prolonged fast. Regarding that, Jason, you got to talk to your doctor. But as far as it pertains to ketosis, yes, the Complete Essentials will work for giving you. So an example that I'll use is a lot of people who utilize ketosis use it with intermittent fasting. And the reason for that is because it makes it easier to consume like a bolus of calories and because so many of the calories that you consume are calories from fat, it's almost easier for people to consume the majority of their calories in a smaller amount of time, but also to get the benefit of intermittent fasting from a cognitive standpoint, from a fat loss standpoint. And so people can use it in an intermittent fast to kind of, if they're hungry, to create a little more satiety. Now, it's worth mentioning that technically, if you're fasting, any calories are going to take you out of that fast. And because the Complete Essentials has essential amino acids, those are proteins. Those are the building blocks of proteins. And so technically those do count as calories. And so likely those may offset the benefits that you may be trying to drive from the intermittent fasting, like some of the cognitive effects, like some, what do we call it? BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, kind of those cognitive enhancement abilities that become prevalent when we've been fasting for a period of time. So yes, they can be used. However, it depends on how strict you want to be with the intermittent fasting. Second to that is, regardless of how you're plugging in your ketogenic diet, they can be used in and around your workouts. Just keep in mind that it is a protein source, and as with any ketogenic diet, depending on how much protein you consume, it can be enough to throw you out of ketosis. It's very individualized. It depends a lot on your degree of fitness, and physical activity levels, and just biochemical individuality. So you're going to have to just play around with it. So I hope that answers your question, buddy. What else? Anyone else got anything they want to throw out there? Let's see. Anyone want to mention any of the benefits that they've experienced utilizing the Complete Essentials? I'd be happy to share with the group. Oh, there's some Q&A. Oh, here it is. Okay. Antonio, in which case and when? So Antonio asked, in which case and when do you take leucine, essential amino acid, and branched chain amino acid? And so Antonio, all those are part of the essential amino acid blend. So the EAAs, so the essential amino acids, are made up of 9 amino acids. And of those 9 amino acids, 3 of those are the branched chain amino acids. The big branched chain amino acid is leucine. Leucine is the one that's really correlated to more towards muscle protein breakdown and muscle protein synthesis. And then again, the 3 of those are the branched chain amino acids. So in my mind, it just makes sense to simply just take the essential amino acids and not even bother with the branched chain amino acids. And I don't know if you were on the call yet when I mentioned that there's a lot of research on branched chain amino acids. And to be fair, I don't spend much time digging around in that stuff. I know that just taking the EAAs is really effective. But there's research to show that for those people that get enough protein in their diet, so when I say enough protein, I'm talking about 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So for someone like myself who's 100 kilos, I need 100 to 150 grams of protein, which is easy to get. I mean, I recommend most females get 100 grams of protein. So it's a situation where you probably don't need just to take branched chain amino acids, but you're going to get more benefit from all of the essential amino acids as more of a complete protein, to say nothing of some of the negative long-term effects of the branched chain amino acids, B6 depletion, things like that. So I hope that answers your question there. What else? Anyone else got any questions? I'm going to take a second here and plug a few things that, since you guys are on the call, I would love so a couple things that I think you'll find a lot of value out of that you may not be aware of, but I have a podcast. The podcast is called Smart Nutrition Made Simple. And we have probably about 17 episodes out since the new year. I've interviewed some awesome people on the podcast, and I'm just trying to get that dialed in. But I have 7 amazing practitioners, health coaches, entrepreneurs, guys in the fitness space, both from keto to vegetarian optimization and plant-based, and digestive enzyme function. I've got some really cool people coming on in the next month, and so we'll be rolling out a couple of podcasts per week. But I would love if you would both subscribe to, so, whichever it resonates with you, but I film all of these live, similar to how we're doing now. I post those up on YouTube. And so if you're interested in seeing videos of me interviewing people, I would love to have you subscribe so that you can be updated when those podcasts come out. And then similarly, we post those to iTunes. So if you listen in the car, like I listen to most of the podcasts in the car, do me a favor and subscribe to the iTunes. And if you've listened to any of the podcasts and if you guys like them and find value in them, then I would be so appreciative if you would leave a 5-star review. So on YouTube, a comment, subscribe in iTunes, subscribe and hit me up with a 5-star review. I will be so grateful to you to the degree, just hit me up when you guys have another order to place, and I will give you a little extra kickback discount on that order, because it would really mean a lot as we're really trying to grow BSL Nutrition. Just trying to get, like I said, just trying to get good quality information out there, trying to make smart nutrition simple, and move away from the complexity in this industry. It's unbelievable. So there's that. Simon, did I suggest that the BSL product, the BSL is Complete Essentials, can replace whey protein? Yes, I did. And the reason the Complete Essentials can replace whey protein is because it has all 9 of the essential amino acids. So whey protein is going to have some non-essential amino acids as well that are certainly beneficial, but assuming you're getting enough protein from your diet, then you're getting those non-essential amino acids in. And so for those people, especially those people that can't tolerate whey protein like myself, I found immense value in utilizing the essential amino acids. For those people that have a hard time getting enough protein in throughout the day, then they're going to find a lot of benefit in utilizing the essential amino acids. For those people that have food sensitivities, very poor digestion, may not be breaking down their proteins appropriately, may not be chewing their foods, like probably all of us, enough in order to absorb and assimilate those nutrients, then they're certainly going to benefit. So Simon, I hope that answers your questions, but what I'll do typically, depending on where someone is, I'll have them dose the Complete Essentials before, during, and then maybe after their workouts, just kind of depending. But for the typical person, just in terms of dosing, so the average person would be 2 scoops. And when I say average person, like let's say female, 150 pounds, it would be 2 scoops before and during their workouts. That would be about 16 grams of essential amino acids. As I said, essential amino acids are more bioavailable, so that might be closer to like 30 grams of what we would get from a whey protein, something like that. For bigger guys or girls, people that have more muscle mass, closer to 200 pounds and above, I recommend working up to 4 scoops before and during the workouts. And again, the reason I'm recommending before and during is because of some of the pre-workout type ingredients like the L-carnitine and the citrulline, and how it's going to affect and build the body up for exercise. How it's going to prepare the body for exercise, I should say. That's why you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck if you're taking the Complete Essentials before your workout and then through your workout. But honestly, if it's someone who just, like maybe it's a high lactate inducing workout, like a CrossFit type workout, they just can't be drinking something sweet like that during the workout. They don't like to drink stuff during the workout. Or it's an endurance athlete and they obviously are out running and maybe not wanting to take the Complete Essentials with them, I'd have them do before and after. So I hope that answers your question. With that, thanks, Zach. Dude, I appreciate it. Zach said he loved the Crystal Jackson episode. Crystal Jackson is a good friend. Her and her husband, Curtis, own a training facility in Solana Beach, California. They train a lot of high school athletes, both baseball and volleyball. So a lot of throwing athletes for all intents and purposes, but because volleyball players, a lot of jumping and hitting, a lot of shoulder stability type stuff. So got that. Zach, for general population, mainly female, what would you explain to them as the best reason for them to begin taking these essential amino acids and how they would benefit? So here's the thing, is most people want to be taking something around their workout. They're of the opinion that taking, pre-workout supplementation is beneficial to them to some degree, but they may not know what to take and they may not know why they'd be taking it. So it's up to you as a practitioner to explain to them, based on their goals, how the product is going to help support them with those goals. So why would a female take the complete essentials in and around her workouts? Well, what are her goals? Assuming it's weight loss, fat loss, then we're going to be driving, maybe she's training fasted first thing in the morning. Okay. Obviously there's a lot of other factors at play and information that we'd want to have, but one of the main benefits for females would be like, look, this is going to help contribute to your daily protein intake. Protein is absolutely necessary component to laying down new muscle tissue, and new muscle tissue is extremely metabolically active tissue that helps burn calories at rest. And so if you can put on muscle, right, then we can get you burning hotter. We can get you burning more calories at rest, which means you're going to be burning more fat throughout the day. If you're burning more fat, you are going to take up less space. So you're going to become a smaller person, which ultimately is what people want to hear. Like scale, scale weight, most people don't care what the scale says. Like they think too much about the implications of what the scale says on any given day. But at the end of the day, what do they really want? They just want to feel awesome in their, in their bikini. They want to feel awesome in their new pantsuit that they are wearing to work. I don't know. They just want to feel great about themselves, and they feel like they're going to feel great. That's the reason they're in CNUs. They feel like they need this strength training in order to improve their body composition. And this is something that's going to help them do that and help support them through their workouts, so that not only is the protein important for laying down new muscle tissue, but it's important for I lost my train of thought. It's important for, hitting their daily protein goals. Oh, but helping them recover from workout to workout. So also is like the citrulline, L-carnitine, the L-aspartic acid, the vitamin C in there that helps buffer the cortisol response. So we're helping them recover from workout to workout, because as we all know, it's the consistency day after day that is key. That's going to lead them to long-term success. And so if we're supporting them through that, if we're helping reduce muscle soreness, but also giving them more of a benefit from a recovery standpoint, then they're going to see better results long-term. So it's up to you to help them understand that. It's just going to be that extra boost to help support them from workout to workout, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question, Jack. But it's really, dude, you got to speak to the pain points, what it is that they're really looking for. Antonio, I got you. Oh, Zach, I got you. Cool. Awesome, guys. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I think that will wrap it up, unless, I'm happy to stick around for a little bit longer if anyone else has any questions. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed about. So like I said, we're rolling out a bunch, we're just ramping up the podcast. So I would appreciate it if you guys would be willing to, like and subscribe and leave me a review on iTunes, and share it with people that you think would benefit from this type of information. I just, we're really just, I'm here to help you guys as much as possible, from an individual looking to get healthier, to lose body fat, to trainers looking to improve your business, you know, to whatever degree I can help with that. That's what I'm interested in. And yes, we do sell supplements, but it's really our vehicle for getting really incredible information out there to help more and more people in the right kind of way. And all of you who took the time to tune in are helping us facilitate that. And so we couldn't do it without you. So we're so, so grateful. With that said, oh, Todd, last thing. Okay, so this will be the very last thing and I'll shut it down. Todd, you had mentioned, do we have any promotional literature that we can use to market the product? Todd, I feel like you asked me for this maybe like 6 months ago. And the answer is we do have some promotional literature, but frankly, it's not good and we need to redo it. So I'm going to make a note to get on that and get some marketing flyers and stuff together. We do have some flyers. I'll shoot you some of those that I think can get the job done in the meantime. Otherwise, send people to our website, bslnutrition.com, for content. The supplement shop, we have a brand new page up. It's bslnutritionshop.com. And, you know, we've got a couple options available. If you ever want to, you know, if you have more online clients, if you want to just send clients to us as an affiliate, we have auto ship capabilities now. So someone could order reoccurring 1 to 2 bottles a month of both the grape and lemon lime. And we can set you up with an affiliate account so that you are getting a kickback on that for the life of the client. If you are just a general population person listening in and, you know, want to send some people our way, just feel free to email me at bbrown@bodysystemslabs.com. And I'll make sure, you know, we kick you a little bit of a discount for any referrals as well. We want to support you as much as you're supporting us. So with that said, hey guys, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I think this has been a really cool first webinar. We'll try and make this a consistent thing, and don't hesitate to let me know what we can do to support you. Now, like I said, that's why we're here. So I appreciate you. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and enjoy. Take care.